Okay, we are
Okay.
live. Today we have a special guest on this channel. It's with Thomas Wolf. He has his own crypto company. He basically has a guild where he did an IDU recently, collected a lot of money, has some investors, is giving out a lot of scholarships, is trading with a lot of NFTs, and he's gonna give his insights on crypto in this episode here. So yeah, welcome Thomas.
Thank you. Thank you for letting me be on the channel. And it's been good to see your videos as well. I'm pretty interested in the projects you've been getting into. And of course, we have a lot of friends in common that are doing similar projects and investing in lots of different crypto coins. So yeah, lots to talk about today for sure.
Yeah, actually, we have like a lot of friends in common who are getting into crypto. Like most of us, we're trading, we're doing e-commerce, right? But a lot of them are
Yeah.
actually going into crypto. The whole Bali community. That's what I feel like.
Yeah, it's actually very cool how Bali is, in a way, becoming like a new little haven island for cryptocurrency. You got, I'm sure some people are already aware of Unix, which is less than 1 kilometer away from us.
Yeah,
Those guys here in Bali too.
right.
They've done a really good job. They did a very good raise as well.
Hmm.
And we definitely have their target amount in mind as we go for our copper launch. Hopefully we can beat them.
How much did they
Um,
raise?
They raised $22.3 million in 72 hours. So
Wow.
that's our nice little goal there, 22.3 mil. So yeah, very good. And there's been a few other guilds coming up in the last 2 months that have also crushed it on the copper launch, doing a guild Guild absolutely destroyed it. They did $140 million. Although they were backed by Coinbase Ventures and some massive tier A backers, so
Yeah.
it's hard to compare to that. But we're definitely hoping we can beat that Unix one. But again, like we've been doing a lot of research, and once we raise that money, it's immediately going to go into all these in-game assets, and yeah, we get right to work.
Awesome. Well, right. Okay, so how I want to talk with you today is let's talk about crypto in general, what you are feeling about this whole space, where it's moving, if you are feeling we are getting into bearish market or we are still in the bull run. And then later on, I want to talk with you about the guild, right? And how this business is going, where you see the chances and yeah, the whole stream. So yeah. So,
Okay,
how long have you been in crypto?
so I bought my first crypto in 2017, but I wasn't taking it seriously back then at all. It was only like a little bit of money. Um,
Okay,
and I was still much more into stocks until the end of last year,
okay,
like till late in the year. And then I started just shifting a lot of money from stocks that had been gaining a lot during 2020 and just putting a lot more profits into crypto. So really like 1 year, like being really serious about actually growing cryptocurrency. So it's been a pretty fast evolution, but
What
yeah.
changed your perception of crypto?
Okay, so yeah, if you remember, like, well, when the COVID crash happened and the stock market and cryptocurrency markets were both tanking back in like April last year, um, I was still heavily focused on stocks because at the time I wasn't still completely convinced that the returns would be reliable with cryptocurrency. That was the main concern. I wanted to still be deep in stock investments. But as the year progressed, and you see how much money governments were printing, like money just didn't have any real value anymore, like in their eyes. So I just started to think, well, cryptocurrency really is like this actual scarce resource asset. And I know a lot of people like to think of Bitcoin as the store of value. But I mean, there's so many good altcoins as well that are doing amazing gains. And really, that's what was making me just go more into crypto was just how the governments have been behaving, and then yeah, just towards the end of the year, how like Tesla was a massive player coming into the market last year, and then yeah, by that point, I was basically just sold on putting a decent chunk of money in a crypto and just adding to it. So I've just been since I've been adding, I've just been staking, reinvesting, moving from one coin to the next a little bit,
Yeah.
and just getting really good returns on some particular coins, especially. But
Which
yeah,
coins?
just
Like,
really.
which coins are you very bullish on?
So I made a lot of money on the Axie Shard coin, of course, for AXS.
Yeah.
I got him at around $22, and then I got into Solana at around $25. That also did really well. Those are two of my actual bigger winners. And then just Ethereum. That was the first crypto I ever got into. Was Ethereum, and that's just also done well over time. Not as well as altcoins, of course, but just still generally pretty well. Um, yeah, and now I'm hoping for some big returns in other gaming coins, especially Metaverse, all that fun stuff.
Yeah. So which coins are you actually currently holding?
Okay, so I got quite a big portfolio right now. I got about 20 different coins. So like if I
Okay,
just said
tell
like
me
the
the five
main,
most important ones.
okay, the five most important ones for me are still Axie Shards, Solana, Ethereum, FTT, the FTX coin,
Okay.
and then last pick would be well GSG when it comes out.
Awesome. Nice. So I've been actually holding Gala and Sand because I missed out on Axie. Like you were one of the first ones who got into Axie so hyped, and that's why I became aware of this. And later on, I went into the crypto gaming. So I was kind of too
Yeah,
late for Axie Infinity, but for Gala and Sand, I was quite right there. As you
yeah,
can see on my
nice.
YouTube channel, I've done already videos about those games 2 months ago. So I
Yeah,
bought back in this time, and yeah, they
okay.
went quite up in this time. And now I'm kind of
Yeah,
holding other crypto gaming coins since you can't really separate yourself. I'm obviously also holding some layer one coins as
yeah.
Ethereum, Solana. I'm actually also in the others a little bit since I believe all of them have their own value and their belief why they should be there. But in
Okay.
general, like if you're investing to one thing, you should stick with this area since you get all the knowledge, all the news in this area, right?
Yeah,
Okay,
definitely.
so what do you think about like how the crypto space is evolving right now? Do you think we are going in the right direction?
Um, so of course it hasn't been the best start to the month, and it's come down a fair bit from all-time highs we saw last month. But well, I'm hopeful that we're not entering into full bear territory, but I
What?
think we have a pretty good chance at a rebound. And I think that the crypto market at large is is moving towards, well, a lot of money has been going into crypto gaming, metaverse, and also NFTs, of course. So really, it's about use cases more than ever. Um, Bitcoin can still be that store of value, but of course, there are better altcoins for day-to-day transactions and just interacting with just normal companies. Like I know a lot of people are excited to see what happens with the Ripple case. So XRP is on a lot of people's radar. Could have a lot of upside, and and yeah, I mean, of course, there's so many cryptos to keep track of. So you just got to have a good watch list set up, and just don't try to catch everything because you never can. Just focus. Like it is a good idea to focus on a segment like crypto gaming.
Yeah.
It's a great segment to be in, or you just get distracted very easily. Like it's a lot to keep track of.
Right. So with this question, what do you think we should not get into right now?
What should we not get
Yeah,
into?
what should we like
Um,
not do?
just be very careful of all these meme coins. Like these meme coins are just coming out every day. So many of them. Like,
Right.
I mean, you can roll the dice if you want, but it's just very risky, and people often just get too sucked into that kind of short-term thinking mentality. So my advice, as someone who's been in crypto for a while now, is just to think the long term. not always for long term, but at least for midterm. Don't only think of like day-to-day changes.
So
Unless you want to be a heavy trader as well, which is hard.
yeah.
Um,
So are you saying you
yeah.
haven't invested into meme coins yourself?
Well, not a lot. I have gotten a little bit sucked in myself too, but I try to only invest in a project that I wouldn't mind holding.
Yeah.
Like, like, so if it makes sense to hold, then I could consider it as an investment. Has to have a good team, a good roadmap, tokenomics, like all those things you look for, like a checklist of what a cryptocurrency
Yeah.
has to have before I'm going to invest a decent amount of money into it, like, yeah, now and again, me odd, like, roll the dice, but just don't get carried away with it.
Awesome. So you have done a lot of trading beforehand, so you're pretty good in analyzing stuff, and you have also studied finance, so you're pretty aware of what is happening, etc. What I want to ask you for the audience is, if you're investing into coin, where do you put the most focus on, especially in crypto gaming, since my channel is based on that? Would you say you're focused more on the hype, the marketing side? Are you more focused on the technical side? How would you like define that specifically?
Okay, so yeah, for my long-term investments, I want projects that tick as many boxes as possible. So of course, marketing is very important. So I want to see their marketing team working hard. But then again, I don't want it to only be hype-based. I want them to have some real plans. A team that's not anonymous is definitely better as well. So you actually know the people involved. That always helps if you actually know, like, of course, if you know them personally, that's even better. But if you know at least who they are, then
Okay.
that's better than an anonymous team. So
Wow.
that's one thing.
A
Yeah.
lot of crypto teams are
Um,
anonymous, so it's kind of hard to
yeah,
see.
of course. Yeah, they are. And of course, some of them do that because they're trying to do something, like a rug pull, or they're trying to, just walk away with a lot of money or something like that. So
Yeah.
if they're not prepared to like put their reputation on the line, then it's harder for me to invest more than only a small amount in that kind of project. So yeah, I want as many boxes as I can in my long-term holdings. And then if I'm talking about trading mentality here, then I categorize myself as heavily news trading. So like I'm looking
Okay.
for breaking news and then trying to act on those kinds of things as fast as I can. Like just yeah, of course, like there can be flash crashes now and again that are quite hard to predict. But if there's some breaking news of a project, of course, you've got to be very quick to react before people FOMO in and it just starts shooting up.
Right. So which sources do you follow on a daily basis to stay up on the curve?
Yeah, so I got a pretty good watch list of people on Twitter. So I get some good Twitter news. So that's the first one. Of course, Twitter's great for crypto.
Yeah.
Because by the time you see it on YouTube, of course, of course, when Alex Becker makes a YouTube video or whatever, then people try to buy it as fast as it's gone. Like, as soon as the videos come out, people are already buying whatever coins he talks about. But like, yeah, so Twitter was an important one, and then Telegram groups, particularly as well. Telegram, Discord, are great communities. I'm in many groups on each of those.
Tell me specifically, which people do you follow on Twitter? Who are the like top three accounts that like people who actually want to make serious money with crypto are getting into? Who should you follow on
Yeah.
Twitter?
Yeah, so the ones who come to mind first, like Alex Becker, JRNY Crypto, and Coin Bureau are three of my favorite crypto guys.
Okay.
They're usually pretty balanced on what they say and talk about. They're not too like hype beast. So you usually hear a reasonable review from them. So I usually think their judgment is solid. And then there's a bunch more just on Twitter that have, mid to large followings. They talk about various projects. A lot of NFT guys as well. So you find out all the big NFT projects that are about to whitelist, about to launch. Yeah, it's just a lot of news and reading involved as well,
Okay,
just to
awesome.
interpret everything.
Awesome. So we are in this like common mastermind of Rohan, which is pretty solid, a lot of good advice and so on. But he tries to keep it private. What I want to ask you is, in what kind of other masterminds are you in? Which do you think provide the most value? And how would you tell? How can people get into those masterminds?
Okay, so yeah, the best mastermind that I'm in now, in my opinion, is the one that we've started up with the OpenSea.
Okay.
So this is our new GameX card. So if you're a holder of a black GameX card from us, Gamester.eth,
Yeah.
then there's only ever going to be 200 of those cards out there, and they provide a ton of benefits that are all listed on OpenSea. And we already managed to sell about 180 Ethereum worth of NFTs, which was really impressive this fast, I think. So it just shows like the support of the project that we've been doing over here. And we have that exclusive Telegram group, which is the community that I'm talking about here, with 40 guys who all got our black card so far. And we got some more people to add, I'm sure, when people are buying more of these cards after our IDO and this copper launch. So yeah, like we launched it at 5 ETH and all of those ones sold out, and now it's at 6 ETH.
Yeah.
So the price is going up, and that card is going to provide real world events. It's going to provide access to a metaverse,
Okay.
but we're gonna probably be in Sandbox or Decentraland.
Okay.
And
How are you gonna decide on
also
that?
just getting into allocations very early as well, which is really good for early stage projects. So you can pull some crazy X's, like 100x gains on some of these early stage, getting in very, very soon.
Okay. So you've done a lot of promises now. Tell me specifically, how are you gonna decide on which metaverse you're gonna be in and what kind of events do you want to do there? What have you planned so far?
Yeah. Yeah, the whole metaverse part is very early stage. We don't know yet which metaverse we're going to be in. It's funny to say like that, but yeah, like most likely Sandbox or Decentraland being the two biggest ones. But the real world events could be in Bali, could be in Miami, could be anywhere. Like all these crypto capitals. Dubai. I was in Dubai in October. That was also very cool. I met a lot of people there.
Yeah, it's crazy. Like I've heard a lot of people talking about that Dubai became actually the crypto capital, since Singapore haven't actually opened up their borders since 2019. So
Yeah.
they moved the crypto capital to Dubai. And when I was there in
Yeah.
2020, 2021, no, actually I went there 2021 for six
Yeah.
months. It was just crazy. Like there's so many guys out there, right? Like we talked about it. There's guys on those events who are just popping up to you. You think everybody wants to stay anonymous, but for the sake of networking, they show you the net worth on their Binance account, right?
Yeah. Shown it a few times. Yeah, it's funny. Like it literally became about like sometimes the odd wallet flex. Like they would show you like $10 million of crypto, and it'd just be like no big deal whatsoever.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was funny.
Dubai has good weather, no
Pretty
taxes,
cool too.
perfect conditions
Yeah, and of
to
course,
start it.
yeah, very many good benefits about living in Dubai for sure. I could definitely see myself setting up a base and spending some time of the year there, for sure. Except for summer though, of course. In Dubai, it's too hot.
Yeah,
But apart from that, it's usually pretty nice. So
yeah. What I also saw, that Bali could be actually a very good location for all those guilds, right? That's what I wanted to mention before, since most of the
yeah,
games currently are designed for people in third world countries. Since the amount of
yeah.
money that they earn, they can actually sustain their livings with that. Do you want to actually talk a little bit about that?
Hmm. Yeah, it does make a lot of sense. Us being in Bali does mean that we're on a much better time zone to be able to communicate and work with Filipinos, Indonesians, Vietnamese. Like these three countries, particularly, have already very much embraced crypto gaming. Philippines, number one, like very, very highly represented in Axie Infinity and other crypto games.
Yeah.
So So yeah, like it is true that like it is a lot more money for them on average. But I mean, everyone wins really. Like they get to make crypto money. We also help make money for our investors, and really just the money gets compounded really because we reinvest, so they can make more and we can make more. So I think it's beneficial for everyone.
Yeah.
And yeah, just it is a geographical advantage, but we're out here in Bali. Um, but yeah, I mean, this is still open to anyone in the world, but of course,
Yeah,
you're not
some
so
locations are
likely
more
to,
strategic.
yeah, you're not so likely to be interested in this unless you're like a college student in a first world country, you know, like, but yeah, I mean, this is some life changing money to many of these people. So, um, yeah, we're very glad to be a part of all of this.
All right,
So
awesome.
yeah.
So, how many actual rug pulls have you seen yourself in this space?
Oh, well, I saw that video of the guy getting rug pulled on the Squid Game on that live stream. That video went viral.
Yeah.
Um, but I've never
Let,
actually
let,
been rug pulled on myself,
okay.
thankfully. Yeah, I haven't been in one myself.
So
Um,
would you say like you can see already beforehand what can eventually lead
mm.
to a rug pull?
Yeah, there's definitely some red flags. Like so, some big red flags. Again, like anonymous teams. Another one would be like one wallet holding an overwhelmingly large amount of the supply, you know, so they could just dump at any moment, like what happened in the Squid Game. Um,
Okay.
just other little things. And then there's a lot of airdrop scams as well. Like I've been airdropped a few tokens, but you
Yeah.
can't actually do anything with them. They're only set up to try scam people. So you
Okay.
have to be very careful with that too. Like if you use MetaMask,
Yeah.
your wallet address can be airdrop tokens by these strange projects. And then, like I was watching a YouTube video about one of them just before.
Hmm.
You can search for stuff up. Like I was finding out about it, and it turns out that there is actually no liquidity. You know, and what
Hmm.
they want you to do is connect to their dodgy website, and then you literally allow them permission for your MetaMask, and then they can just take your money. So remember, whenever you're authorizing any transactions, always read everything. So I'm glad I didn't try to claim that and search it up on YouTube. Always do your due diligence, as they say, with any investment. Always do your due diligence, and if something sounds suspicious or just something's dodgy, red flags, then you're better off to just not invest.
Yeah.
Or like $10 if you really don't want to miss out. Like, but just always be ready to lose it. Like you have to only risk money that you can afford to lose. That's the biggest rule
Yeah.
in crypto for sure.
If you're doing research, do you rely on your own kind of research, or did you found some strategies to find out about more projects in a shorter amount of time?
Yeah. So I do have a lot of help. I have a couple of assistants that have helped me compile a large spreadsheet of all the projects I'm currently watching. That's for my personal investments and for Gamester as well. As for Gamester project, we're going to be investing in many new games like Fitan Arena, Splinterlands are on the table, and some more as well. We haven't entered those yet, but we're planning to do that after the Copper launch.
Okay.
Uh, and yeah, so I do have some extra eyes helping me because yeah, there is a lot to keep a track of as we talked about. So yeah, like if anyone's seriously like wanting to watch as many projects as they can, they need to really automate a little bit of their setup and get alerts, be part of these groups that a lot of information is high quality, so they don't waste time to just be searching like under so many rocks that don't have anything underneath them, you know?
Yeah. Okay, awesome. So
So yeah.
we talked a lot about general stuff. Let's move on to your company. Like you have already give us some piece of your company, but tell us from the
Yeah.
beginning exactly now what did you do, how did you start it? Because you had quite an interesting start, and
Hmm.
yeah, where it's going right now. I want to know everything.
Okay, cool. So, yeah, I first got introduced into what Axie Infinity was back in July,
Okay.
because I was close friends with the guys who became Unix. So that's Eric, who you also met Eric, I believe, as well. And then
Yeah.
Joe came in pretty early, of course,
How did they get in?
and Kevin.
How did they get in? How did they got the opportunity of being connected? Because I don't know the main founder of Unix.
Okay. Yeah, the main founder is Mirko. But they all kind of knew each other, I think, beforehand, and I knew three of them. I knew three of them before Unix as well. So how they got connected, I'm not completely sure, but I knew three of them beforehand, and they were the ones who introduced me to what Axie Infinity was.
Hmm.
Um, and I was basically there when they were doing their first fundraising, like before any VCs were involved at all, like a pre-seed.
Okay.
But I decided to go off and do my own guild. So I wanted to set up my own thing because I was just very interested how the whole thing would work. And I wanted to have more control over the investment instead of, as it were, like trusting them with the money. So I just decided to put it to my own use and see what
That's
I
how
could
you
do
do
by
it, right?
myself. So I just wanted to see what I could do by myself with this whole Axie thing. So I started recruiting some players in Bali at the
Hmm.
beginning, and then Matt started in August, and then we were growing pretty quick through August and September, growing good social media community, and then I was managing as many as 80 players just by myself on my own guild that I'd even managed to get
That's
investor
impressive.
funding from. So I was in charge of 80 players, and then Gamester said to me that they're interested in acquiring my guild. So they bought all of my Axies off me,
Hmm.
and then I came on as the head of gaming operations now for Gamester. So
All right.
I'm controlling the.
So what was the actual legal kind of acquiring transition? Like, did you
Hmm,
got acquired and now you have to keep working for 1 year, or do you do like a partnership where you have some shares of the company? I don't
hmm.
know how much you can tell of this, but like anything that you
Yeah,
might
yeah,
tell is beneficial for the audience because they are also interested in how to do merchants and acquiring and stuff like that.
yeah. So yeah, my guild did get acquired. And then since then, I've also been acquiring other guilds on behalf of Gamester.
Okay.
So there are basically different. There are different ways you can do an acquisition, just like in finance. So we've done a couple of straight buyouts where we would just pay a straight Ethereum price for all of the axes, all of the players behind them that they've set up,
Yeah.
and the community. So of course, it takes time to get the players, to train them, to make sure they're good, to have a good community and everything. And then that's what we're paying for. We buy all the assets and the entire system. That's what we've been doing with most of these acquisitions. And then with some other bigger guilds, we've been doing partnerships as well. So just basically cross promotion, and they still retain ownership, but we're doing cross promotions of each other, and it can just help us keep our overall costs down. If we're sharing marketing, reduce fees like that. And then I was also using one of the Unix guys. I was trading back and forth with him, so I'd save myself so much gas fees,
Hmm.
because Ronin is built on Ethereum.
Yeah.
So I was saving so many gas fees by doing using him to keep it within like the system, so I wasn't having to pay gas all the time. So that certainly helped, and we can continue that with Gamester now. But yeah, there are basically various different agreements that people have been doing about these acquisitions. So in my case, yeah, I sold for an Ethereum price, and now I'm a member of the team, head of gaming, and I'm one of the founders and getting tokens and a salary. So
Okay.
yeah,
So
that's how I did it.
so to be specific again, do you have like a percentage of the company which you kind of meant with the tokens?
Yeah, I'm part of the. So when you look at the tokenomics, when you look at the tokenomics pie chart, I'm one of the founders, and that's part of my share is in the founders allocation. But
All right.
I've also invested privately as well. Before I was actually in the team, I also invested privately anyway in the seed round because I was still interested in the project, and I've also invested seed round in some other guilds. So I'm really bullish on the entire crypto gaming space, in particular, as I've
Yeah.
talked about. And so
So
I think these private allocations are very good if the team knows what they're doing and everything is legit and everything.
yeah.
Yeah.
So tell me about the guilds that you acquired. How did you choose them? How big were they in size? And what's kind of the X that you have to pay in advance to acquire a team? Like, let's say they make so much money per month. How many like months up front, or what kind of calculation that you do that you come up with a fair sum?
Yeah. So the main thing we're acquiring are the axes themselves. So it's quite easy to get an average valuation
Okay.
based on the axes they have. So I talked to the owner. They send me the list of all the axie numbers because every axie is unique. So
Yeah.
I can have a look at what they have, how many players they have, and how big their social medias are. And then I basically threw those numbers together and just came up with an Ethereum valuation that I offered them, and they accepted. And then we began the transfer of axes one by one from their Ronin wallets to our Ronin wallet. So it's very easy. You just have to send them one by one, and we
Yeah.
completed the transaction over a couple of days. And yeah, now we're just integrating all those new players into our new Gamester system. And we're probably going to do that with some other guilds in the next couple of weeks as well, just because that helps us to grow very rapidly. This is how YGG grew so fast, so quickly. Yield Guild Games, they're one of the biggest guilds in the space.
Yeah. Yeah.
And they basically were doing this very quick fire guild acquisition strategy. And they grew very quickly since June. And some other guilds have also been doing that, like a few other ones, Merit Circle, Good Games Guild, Unix. Yeah.
So how many actual acquirements have you done so far?
We're in talks with quite a few guilds now. We just completed one buyout, but we're still reintegrating, and then we're hoping, like with a couple more partnerships and another acquisition or two, we'll be well on the way to around 700 players by the end of next month is the goal.
Yeah. So actually, I wanted to ask you because you didn't mention it. You said you acquired the axes, the actual NFTs, but you didn't mention how if you acquiring also the team players. So that's also what you're doing.
Yeah, we are. Yeah, we're acquiring the team players, like say for talent as well. Yeah, because they already know how to play. It saves us time having to teach more people. As part of our growth strategy, we have some more techniques that we're going to be implementing to train people faster. Potentially a Kajabi course of like Axie, so people can do our Kajabi course. But it's basically like an entrance exam to be one of our players in the guild. So fully refundable if they pass, because of course people are a lot more serious if they have to pay for something.
Yeah.
So just that little extra hurdle makes people so much more serious. So yeah, we got a Kajabi course. Hopefully, get that together soon as well. That'll definitely help. Just the whole structure is being revamped completely as we take on so many people. So that we can just scale very quickly and get to that 1,000 plus scholar mark. Because that's when it becomes more of like a large guild. Is at 1,000 players. Like that's a very strong community.
Awesome. What do you think you do better with your guild than the competition?
Yeah. So what the main point of difference that we're going for, but the other guilds aren't talking about, is using AI and machine learning to help with the whole decision-making structure. So what I mean by that is that we're building an AI with with someone who has a lot of experience in the space and who is going to be basically just automating the entire onboarding and then decision making. So if we can get a data feed, like how the markets are going, we can get software that will automatically purchase assets at certain times, purchase assets at certain prices, like NFTs even, this works with as well. So that's all the kind of AI decision making. Like, is the price right on this asset? If yes, buy. So much quicker than a human could possibly do it, or keep track of so many different possible investments. And then the machine learning part is how the machine will teach itself, like from its own mistakes. And all the stuff is in development, so I can't talk too much about it. But that's what really sets us apart, is how none of the other big guilds have actually been talking about how they can incorporate that kind of technology. They've all just been mostly grinding it and just growing to that size through a lot of manual work. But yeah, we really want to streamline the whole process, and the entire investment part of the guild can be streamlined through these technologies.
All right, welcome to the second part of the interview. Me and Tom were kind of busy, so we kind of broke up, and now we continue the conversation. So what I had in mind was just to ask you in general, are there any other questions that you would like me to ask you? What else do you want to talk about that is interesting for the audience?
I guess I can just give some feedback on how to do a copper launch.
Okay.
Some things that we learned during our time on copper launch and the future of the project.
Yeah, go ahead.
So we've seen some interesting scenarios play out on copper launch already. We knew there could be quite volatile events where a lot can happen in that 72 hours. So what we learned from ours was, well, you either can choose to have like a team of people buy your coin as soon as it lists and give it like a really nice pump immediately, or you can also just do nothing and let the price immediately start dropping down. Okay. So like that's a really important thing when it comes to a copper launch, because like I was saying before, they're on price decay curves, and depending on what weight you set your token at, the curve is steeper or shallower, less steep.
All right. So how do you know which one is one of those options?
And we did so it's all very tactical. And I'd advise anyone to like look at past results of copper launch to see like what I'm talking about here. Like you could like look at a screen share after if you're gonna like overlay kind of what I'm talking about here. Like if you look at like Astra Guild Ventures, who just finished their copper launch like a couple of days ago, they went after us.
Okay.
They had a really big pump on open, and then some other moments where they had dips and pumps, and it was very strange action, like very different to ours.
Okay.
And then before the copper launch closed, there was a very big sell-off. It went from $1.90 to $1 in like 6 minutes. Okay. Because you can see all the auction history in copper launch, so it is a pretty cool method. But other important note is that they sold a lot less tokens than we did. So we sold a lot more tokens, but at a much lower average price. So like they basically managed to retain a lot more of their price, like their so-called value, like as it appears in copper launch, because they sold a lot less than us, and because the team gave the coin a massive pump on the open at $1. Like Unix did the same thing, but a very coordinated pump early from people buying in. We didn't do any of that, so our token immediately started dropping. Like we were hit straight away by to be honest.
So you think like that was a good move or not? Because it feels like you have to pump it in the beginning.
Yeah, I think if we pumped it, the whole the whole raise would have probably just done a lot better, just because of the pure fact that it's so psychological. These couple launches are all psychology. Like when you see a project not getting bored at the beginning and immediately going down, people are like, "Oh, now we wait, we wait, we wait," and people just keep waiting and waiting and waiting.
Yeah.
But if people just come in and buy at $1, everyone's like, "Oh shit!" Like FOMO, FOMO. Like it's so true, and like I kind of knew that, and I said like we should have like a little effort going on to like buy and support the price, but in the end it kind of just fell apart. But I mean, we still allowed the market to do what it wanted to do, so like it did definitely impact the launch.
Hmm.
Like not having that initial coordinated pump. But yeah, so basically the first day was just going down. There wasn't a lot of action on the opening, and then also into the second day, people were just waiting and waiting and waiting, and we had to just step in. So we actually did start to like support the price a little bit, like internally.
Right.
But then we locked those tokens after, but we basically bought ourselves. We then locked them, and it was just really strange situation. But like we had to do it because otherwise the price would have just kept going down and down, and it's so weird. But the third day, we started to see a big comeback, and we ended up closing at like nearly 2.5 times below. So people were actually starting to take profits like towards the end. He was really
Yeah.
lucky and got like captured that part where it was really low. And then we came out into the open market, and we took like another hit when we got on Uniswap and QuickSwap, because again people were just taking some more profits. And then we had our first centralized exchange, which was MEXC.
Okay.
MEXC, quite a decent exchange.
Do you
But
need to?
unfortunately,
How much does it cost? How much does it cost
Well,
to
how
buy
much it
in into
cost?
an exchange, a centralized
Well, it
exchange?
varies. Yeah, it varies a lot. Like apparently KuCoin is really expensive. I think I was hearing like like really expensive, like $500,000 or more just to list,
Okay.
like a fee. But then I was also hearing other ones are a lot cheaper, or so I'm not sure of the exact price. I'm not involved in the centralized exchange deals, so I'm not actually sure on that one. But what I
Okay.
heard was KuCoin was really expensive.
Yeah.
I don't know how much we paid to get it on MEXC if we did pay. But they made a mistake and listed us at 4 cents, and bots like immediately bought, like as soon as it opened. I was watching on open, and there was just a massive green candle because the listing price was wrong, and we immediately went from like 4 cents to 7 cents, which is basically what we were trading at before.
Okay.
And now we're basically at around 7 cents at the moment. But like, truthfully, we're incredibly undervalued, because even just the cash and assets we have are far above our actual market cap, which is a really strange situation. And technically, we could just go and buy like everyone's token and just like start over or like relaunch just after we just buy back everyone's token. Like
Yeah.
kind of a really strange situation. Like, but what happened with us is completely different to the situation we played out with Astra Guild. So they hit Uniswap before they were supposed to, they're saying, and then one of the VCs dumped like 1 million tokens immediately, and the
Okay.
price went from like $1 to like 25 cents. So their group chat has been like crazy today. And apparently they're not even officially on Uniswap for another 8 hours. And they've been telling everyone in Telegram not to sell. But like I was just looking at the chart, and they managed to regain like 50 cents. And then there was another like 7 sellers, and it just went straight back down to like 33 cents. So it was like a 2-minute window to like sell, and now it's closed again. And again, apparently they're not even live for another like 8 hours. They said midnight UTC time, so that's 1 a.m. for you, I guess. But yeah, just very strange big strange thing happened in there, copper launch, and
Now,
then what happened in open market, and same with us, just very different scenarios, but just copper launches, basically, the point is, copper launch can be very volatile, and it's up to the project to carefully set price um, and carefully set the number of tokens and the steepness of the curve. So basically, the curve was too steep. We were trying to sell too many. There are two big reasons why we didn't go as well as expected, but we still raised another $4.3 million. And now we have like 9 million in total that we have after all costs, but we actually have $9 million in cash that we're going to start to activate basically with in-game assets, NFTs. So we've been doing a lot of budgeting at the office the last few days.
okay.
Me talking to the finance team, me talking with Spencer, and all of these things. Obviously, I can't like give too much detail, but basically, we've come up with early plans of where to go from here, and we're going to be updating our roadmap. So we have like more clear January, February, and March plans, and then it's more like Q2, Q3 stuff.
Yep.
As we go further out. We've had some very interesting ideas come up, and we're always making announcements and doing some more giveaways, so we keep our Twitter pretty engaged. Of course, marketing is extremely important early on in the project, and unfortunately it was a little bit put to the side. We just assumed, because we'd done so well in the private and the seed round, selling so fast, and even the IDO selling so fast, I think there was a little bit of overconfidence and too many tokens we were going for to sell. But anyway, for the long term of the project right now, it really doesn't matter very much, and we still believe we can deliver high yields. And once we get marketing a lot better, then we're just going to be getting a lot more eyeballs, a lot more activity, get the trading volume back up, and all those things. And then, of course, we've got Dope Wars still in development.
Yep.
We've got our own Zinc Launchpad. That's why we're excited to have Zinc Launchpad, because we think we can make a lot of improvements on Copper Launch. And Launchpad is a whole project of its own, basically now. That's very exciting potential with that one. And we even have some more projects that we have in the works too, that we haven't announced yet. So, just very exciting times. Next month we'll still be very busy. Getting marketing really firing off, get those influencers working hard for us. Even wanting to hire a YouTuber full time to produce content for us.
Okay.
Yeah, so interesting things going on.
Yeah. Sounds good.
So quite a lot of updates. Basically, a lot of updates now that we've seen what happened and seen how things have gone in the last few days. So it's kind of cool. It's more like an update video at this point, the second part.
Yeah, I see. You talk for 10 minutes straight on without me asking any
Yeah.
questions. A lot of valuable information.
Yeah.
Definitely. That's why I didn't interrupt it.
Okay. Yeah. I was going on a little bit of a tangent at some parts, but most of that was reasonably to the point.
All right. Okay, I guess you covered everything. Is there anything that you want to say additionally to that? I guess there still is.
Well, I mean, you were saying like you're pretty into Sandbox and Decentraland, wasn't it? Like you're pretty into these
Gala
assets,
games,
right?
Sandbox, Gala
okay.
games. Like, there's a whole bunch, but I'm looking at the marketing from most games, and I think the ones that are getting the most hype currently, they're just the best bet to invest. Some other games are also coming. It depends on how much hype they're getting.
Do you think that too much hype is kind of like a bad thing, right?
No, I think it's a good thing. Like, if the game gets a lot of hype, you get a lot of money, and then from there you go. Because what I found is everybody has a good founding team, etc. The thing that we spoke about last time with the anonymous teams and so on, they're kind of not present in the crypto gaming play to earn field. So you kind of have to filter for different things, and then the second best thing to filter for is for like the hype. because the more hype the game gets, the better it can get.
Yeah.
I
Marketing
still
is definitely important for sure. No, I know marketing is very important, but when I'm careful when if it's too hyped, but I don't believe the project can deliver, then I'm kind of scared to get in because like it can be a lot more prone to kind of like a flash crash
yeah
or like a loss of confidence. You know, like basically, and you always got to remember to take a little bit of profits on the way. If you get in really early and do 10x, like
yeah
you got to take your initial investment off the table. Like you can get really caught up in taking all these profits on paper, but then you never end up actually like selling and getting any of it. Like that's like a key like investment kind of tip that gets overlooked. Some people are just like are all like about moon bags and they forget to sell. Like it's and then there's a big crash and then they're like, oh no, like I should have sold and
yeah
like just take a little bit like now and again, right? Like
yeah. I found it interesting when you mentioned that when you were launching on the central exchange that the price was set on 4 cents. And
yeah, it
what I
was a
found
mistake.
interesting, what I
Yeah.
found interesting is that people actually saw this possibility, took immediate advantage over this price.
It
Like
was bots, definitely bots. I was watching it, and there was no conceivable way anyone could have typed an order, and like it was just bots. It was all just automatic. Like I was there, and there. Yeah, I wish I could have bought at 4 cents, but there was absolutely zero chance I could have manually bought at 4 cents. I don't know how these programs work. I'm not a coder, but there's a lot of trading software out there, you know, that people use
yep.
and some of it's pretty insane. Like, yeah, definitely bots came in and got that. Like, there was no way. I tried to buy, but yeah, no chance.
I can definitely see that.
Yeah, like if you look on the MEXC like graph, you see the first green candle in the first minute, but it was really the first 2 seconds. Whenever you have it up. But you can pull it up later if you're like doing screen shares in this video as well. Pull up some copper launchers who will kind of see what I'm talking about with steepness of the curve, the price decay, and then like sell-offs that happen, closing price. So obviously our copper launch wasn't the best, but we're trying to make up for it as much as we can by letting our plans be known with what we are going to do with the money and what yield we can bring. And some exciting things like getting a staking dashboard. So like I thought Unix's staking dashboard and their website was looking pretty good. So we're trying to implement a pretty good staking dashboard of our own, like live news feed, live market charts. I'm going to make a really cool interface, show like our portfolio, some other things like that. And yeah, just really get the marketing firing. And then we already have more than 7,000 holders of our token, so it's pretty decent with that many people actually did invest and bought some of it. And yeah, just like getting that growing and getting that volume up. Of course, you can do liquidity pools already. Anyone can set up a liquidity pool. That's the cool thing about Uniswap and QuickSwap. You get a nice piece of fees that's being traded on that pair. I don't know if you do much liquidity pool stuff, but it is risky, but it can be decent, pretty decent returns on those. And then staking dashboard itself is pretty cool. Good way to make profit and stay in the same coin. You know, getting benefits in the same coin.
Yeah.
So yeah.
All right. I guess we covered enough. Like that's enough details to the project, etc. I would kind of go to the end to the interview so we can finally publish it on YouTube and spread the word on this. So what are your last words?
My last words are that you need to have whenever you're trying to do like a copper launch, have a good plan before time, and especially like how you're gonna, or very importantly, how you're gonna deal with the transition phase between going from copper launch to the open market.
Okay.
You can make mistakes like AGV made a big mistake letting their tokens out early. So you really need to have hard plans, have advisors to help you bring it to the market after that, market makers and all of these things. And yeah, like my other closing words are just that the crypto gaming market, I think, will be massive in 2022.
Yeah.
I think NFTs are going to continue to grow. I think there'll be music, movies, like real digital real estate, like a lot more of it coming on OpenSea.
Yeah.
And just many other things I can't even think of that could be possible on there. So yeah, I really think that the NFT and crypto gaming space already had a huge year, but I think it's small compared to what will happen next year.
Yeah.
With more mass adoption, more real utility, real world utility, metaverse. Like I even had a play with, we actually got an Oculus in my office. I had a play with that yesterday. And yeah, those things are damn cool. Like pretty amazing, immersive experience.
Yeah,
Like,
as we say the whole time, it's just a start. What we're gonna see next year is
yeah,
probably gonna have real life utility and actual like gameplay or whatsoever.
massive.
Okay, awesome.
Massive like meetings for sure, like massive potential for having meetings that feel like they're real. Everyone's in the headset, like talking to someone's avatar that looks very much like their real life likeness, like
Yeah,
model their face in the metaverse, like crazy shit. Yeah, like the whole Zuckerberg video
right,
really coming to life.
right. Okay, awesome, awesome.
Nuts, yeah.
So the last words from me was a nice interview, guys. If you wanna see more interviews like this, keep commenting, right? And don't forget to subscribe on the channel. All the people watching from Tom's YouTube channel or Instagram, keep subscribing to the channel. I publish a lot of content about crypto gaming, right? The name is Prince of Metaverse, since we are in this metaverse and we are just talking about that. You're early right now, don't forget it. So it's still a chance to invest, even though some games are already being overhyped right now. As you can see, there's a lot to do in this field. So yeah, let's work on this together. Awesome. With that being said, have a great day, Tom.
Thank you. You too. Cheers.
Cheers.